The Detroit Lions have a singular weak link on the defensive side of the football. The pass rush is significantly improved from a season ago. They added back Aidan Hutchinson. Alden Muhammad is breaking out. DJ Reader is still very good. Tyleik Williams is playing fantastic for a rookie defensive tackle. And that's before they returned the Pro Bowler in Aleem McNeil, along with several other pass rushers throughout the 2025 season. The linebacking core looks much better than a year ago. Alex Anzalone's back healthy. Jack Campbell's taken another step forward. Derek Barnes has returned and been super productive. Even backup players like Trevor Nowaske and Zach Cunningham have had big impacts on the Detroit Lions' 2-1 start throughout the early stages of the 2025 season. And the secondary looks better. Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are still the best safety duo in football. DJ Reed looks to be one of the signings of the offseason, one of the best players to come out of free agency. Amik Robertson is playing really good football. And then you get to Terrion Arnold, a player that had big expectations coming into the year, was hoping to have a massive leap in year two from his rookie season. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be the case for the Detroit Lions. Now, that has led a lot of people to calling Terrion Arnold a bust. That has led to a lot of speculation about what his future looks like in Detroit. We're going to take a look at his 2025 season so far, compare it to his rookie year, compare it to what the expectation should be, talk about some of the reasons that he is struggling and whether those are necessarily completely against him or whether they're maybe a product of the system, and really go over what it's going to take for the Detroit Lions to finally shore up the final question mark on the defensive side of the football. Now, when I say Terrion Arnold's having a bad sophomore slump, it's pretty bad. Terrion Arnold, through 3 games of the 2025 season, despite not facing a truly elite wide receiver, has allowed 22 targets, 16 catches, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 138.6, a 72.7% completion rate, and a penalty with 2 passes defended. Now, that puts him on a 2025 pace to be targeted 124 times, have the ball caught on him 90 of those times, allowing 1,365 yards and 11 touchdowns through the air. Now, that might be okay if you're allowing that many yards and that many touchdowns, but you're walking away with 7, 8, 9 interceptions in a year. But Terrion Arnold, through 19 games, has yet to catch an interception in his career. He technically did catch one against Chicago, but it was called back due to a roughing the passer penalty. So he is on pace for 0 interceptions while allowing almost 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. He is essentially allowing a Pro Bowl season, an all-pro season, if you will, on the defensive side of the ball. And that is not a very good thing. Now, this comes after a really strong rookie campaign that finished in a positive way. Terrion Arnold's rookie season, he was targeted 90 times, allowed 50 completions, 660 yards, a 55.5% completion rate, and 4 touchdowns. This came as Terrion Arnold, for a majority, or at least for the back end of his rookie campaign, was the cornerback one. He was facing some really good players. He was facing Justin Jefferson. He was facing Jordan Addison. He was facing some really talented wide receivers down the stretch. And yeah, he certainly struggled at times. There were certainly big plays that were allowed because of the scheme. You saw a rookie put in a really tough, a very difficult situation and making the most of that opportunity. But this year, that seems to just not be the case. Terrion Arnold has taken largely a backseat to, obviously, DJ Reed, the major free agency signing this year. He has been primarily the cornerback 2 covering wide receiver 2s. He's not going toe-to-toe with DJ Moore every single play. He's not going toe-to-toe with Justin Jefferson every single play. He's not going toe-to-toe with some of the elite names across the league. He's facing some of the second guys. He's facing the Romeo Doubs. He's facing the Rome Odunzes. He's facing the DeAndre Hopkins. He's facing players that are good, right? Obviously, they're NFL players. They're NFL wide receivers. They're productive, good players, but not good enough players to allow 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. Going game by game, he started off week 1 struggling like every Detroit Lions player, allowed 5 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. In week 2, he was a little bit worse, allowed 6 catches and 89 yards, and going into week 3, he statistically got a little better, but allowed another touchdown with 5 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. And again, he's not playing these elite wide receivers. Those numbers come against Romeo Doubs. Those numbers come against DeAndre Hopkins, 3 players that are good, right? And I think even Rome Odunze, you could say, is probably one of the better wide receivers in the league this year, but it's not really working for the Detroit Lions, and it's certainly not working for Terrion Arnold. The new scheme seems to be benefiting everybody in the secondary, everybody in the pass rush, everybody in the linebacking core, The only player that doesn't seem to be able to keep up, unfortunately, is Terrion Arnold. Now, I do think there is some reasons for Terrion Arnold's high target rate, and I don't think it's necessarily because he is a bad football player. Terrion Arnold, in my opinion, is still very talented. He is still very good at the position. And in my opinion, if Terrion Arnold is the worst player on your defense, if he is the only question mark you have and the biggest concern you have for the defensive side of the ball, that speaks volumes to how good the rest of your defense is, because we saw him last year play really good football. We saw Terrion Arnold last year make some splashy plays, make some good PBUs, make some really good plays for this defense when he was called upon and asked to do so. But the reason Terrion Arnold is facing so much competition, the reason Terrion Arnold is facing so many targets, and the reason that he seems to be picked on is because the rest of the Detroit Lions defensive backs have been outstanding this year, and the rest of the Detroit Lions defense has been phenomenal. We'll take a look at DJ Reed to start things off. DJ Reed was a big free agent signing for the Detroit Lions. He was asked to replace Carlton Davis. He was asked to earn his $30-something million contract. And I think he's doing that. Through 3 games, he's been targeted 9 times, allowed 5 receptions for just 54 yards. That is phenomenal cornerback one play. That's better than Pat Surtain. That's better than most NFL cornerbacks, even at the top of their game. And DJ Reed has been great. DJ Reed is not being targeted because he's in tight coverage, because he's physical at the line of scrimmage, because he just simply isn't allowing many big plays. You take a look at, some of the other cornerbacks on this roster. Amon-Ra Robertson's only been targeted 6 times through 2 games. Now, obviously, he's allowed 6 receptions and 100 yards, which isn't great, but it's not bad, right? That's pretty solid to only be targeted 6 times across 3 games. That's 2 targets a game for less than 30 yards. That's not bad for a slot cornerback who's playing arguably the toughest position on the defense. It's pretty good for Amon-Ra Robertson. That's pretty good for the Detroit Lions secondary. You take a look at Kerby Joseph in the safety room. He's been targeted 8 times this year, allowed 6 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown, but has walked away with an interception as well this season in a game-changing play against Chicago. Brian Branch has been targeted 11 times, the second most in the entire secondary, and he's only allowed 6 catches for 75 yards. Again, working primarily as a safety, but also partially as that slot cornerback. So when you look at the rest of the Detroit Lions safety room and you look at the rest of their defensive back room, 3 of their players have allowed less than 75 yards. One of their players, the slot cornerback, again playing one of the toughest positions in the NFL, has allowed just over 100 yards. So 4 of your 5 secondary members are playing at a borderline elite level, while Terrion Arnold continues to struggle. Why would you throw at DJ Reed when you could throw at Terrion Arnold? Why would you throw deep and test Kerby Joseph? Why would you test Brian Branch when you can take on and test Terrion Arnold? And until Terrion starts responding, I don't think that they're going to stop it. I think Terrion's going to continue to get picked on over and over and over because DJ Reed is a bad option. Kerby Joseph is a bad option to test. Brian Branch is a bad option to test in the secondary. If you throw it at Amon-Ra Robertson, your player is going to get lit up after he catches the football. There are no good options against the Detroit Lions defense outside of Terrion Arnold. Does that make Terrion Arnold a bust? I'm not sure. I think it's too early to say personally, but I think it's easy to say that he is by far the weakest link for the Detroit Lions in this season. Now, is that a bad thing? You want Terrion Arnold to turn into a Pro Bowl All-Pro cornerback, but I think at this point in the season, at the very least, he is a starting quality cornerback. And yes, his numbers are a little worse. Yes, he's being picked on because the rest of the secondary is so good, but I don't think Terrion Arnold is necessarily a bad football player, right? We saw in week 2, he ended the game pretty strongly. He had a pass breakup. He had an interception that was taken away because of a penalty, not on him, but a penalty on Brian Branch. We saw him finish that game quite strong. Yes, he allowed a couple receptions early in the game against Baltimore, but in the second half, he was targeted 3 times, allowed just a single reception for, I think, 15 yards, which, again, isn't great, but is a major step up from where he was in the first half, allowing nearly 60 yards and a penalty to set the Ravens up at the 1-yard line. Terrion Arnold has had good reps. Terrion Arnold has had good possession. The pass breakup in week 1 in the red zone against Romeo Doubs was a good way to get the Detroit Lions off the field, and Terrion Arnold was one of the few players in that game to actually make a strong defensive play. So we've seen moments from Terrion Arnold. We've seen good plays from Terrion Arnold. We just need the consistency to be there. And cornerback is a tough position. Cornerback is one of the toughest positions in the NFL, and the Detroit Lions have some good ones. They have DJ Reed now. They have Amik Robertson. They have some really talented football players that aren't going to see the football much. Until Terrion Arnold proves that he is not worth going at, he is going to get picked on continuously. But as I said, if Terrion Arnold is the worst player on your defense is probably pretty good. In the Detroit Lions defense, from the Chicago Bears game to the Baltimore Ravens game, and even at moments during the Green Bay Packers game, they've been really good. For all of but probably 2 quarters, the Detroit Lions defense has been outstanding this season under Kelvin Sheppard. And I do have faith that he is going to make it work. I do have faith that he is going to help Terrion Arnold reach his full potential. I do have faith that a quarterbacks coach and a defensive backs coach that can develop everybody else can develop somebody with the tools of Terrion Arnold. So with that being said, that is my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below your opinions on Terrion Arnold. Do you think he is the weakest link? Do you think that weak link is fixable? And more importantly, do you think that Terrion Arnold is a bust in his young NFL career? I'd love to hear your opinions down in the comments below. But with that being said, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, and as always, go Lions!